I should note at this point that all of this information is taken from the Bedford St. Martin's online handbook, which you have available to you or will have available to you shortly. You've already paid the fee for this as a student enrolled at MSU. They just don't make it available immediately at the beginning of the semester to allow for the fact that students add and drop, right up until the add drop date, so they like to wait to make it available to you. So I'm giving you this information now because it's not yet available to you, and I want you to be able to start working. However, it will be available to you soon. So I'm using the same format that you'll be using. So that's what the document will look like when you're online, the MLA section that I've been using. And if you remember, this is the article that we talked about. Give us a title, an author, and the source, which is really the main information that you're going to need for citing. So that article that we were going to provide a citation for is in a journal. And if you look at, you see that first thing that goes in the entry is the author's name, last name first. And then, so it's last name, comma, first name, period. Then they put the title of the article in quotation marks, not italics, quotation marks. But notice there's a period at the end of the title. Then they have the title of the actual journal. This says PMLA, but the journal we are using is College English. After that, there's a series of numbers. Now, really, it's not that complex. We are looking for the volume number, and this particular one just has the volume number and then a year. But sometimes you'll have a volume number and an issue number. So I have to go back and look and see. What do we have? We have a volume number and an issue number. So in this case, you would put 53.2, where they have that 117. Then in parentheses, you put the year. Then you put a colon, and this number right here, that's your page numbers. And again, they have given that to us. Pages 156 through 162. But note, they do not put P or PP or anything or PG like that. They just give us the numbers because this is a standard format, so we know that's where the page numbers are, so we don't have to say P or page or anything like that. Again, the period, and then we put print because this is a print journal. Yes, I got this from a database, but it's an actual print journal. In this, if you look at the actual article, the database is just using it to store it electronically so it's available more easily to people. But if you look at the actual pages, it's a print journal. And you can also note, NCTE for their journal articles give us that real handy-dandy little shorthand with all the information necessary right there on that first page. But sometimes you actually have to take a look at the article itself to get the information you need. But as you can see, down at the bottom of this first page, it tells us the journal, the volume, the number, the date, and it tells us what number, the page number that the article starts on. And then we would just scroll down to the bottom to see, okay, the article ends on page 162. So even if we didn't have that handy-dandy little summary at the beginning, we could still gather the information we need to provide a correct citation just by actually looking at the article itself. And that's true of most journal articles. So here I am. I have created my Word document for my annotated bibliography. And I might add at this point that I apologize that I couldn't actually have the video of me creating the file. I know that would have been terribly exciting. But I'm using my new Flip video camera that I got for Christmas, but I don't have my tripod yet. It's coming in the mail, but I don't have it yet, and I didn't want to wait to create this file for you because I know some of you are really eager to get started with this upcoming assignment. So I went ahead and created all this, and now I'm just going to tell you a little bit about it. So first things first, this is a Word file. It's on my old desktop computer, so it's the older version of Word. But, you know, most of the properties are the same. It's just not everything's in exactly the same place. So first things first, I named my file Maskly, my last name, period, annotated, period, bibliography. And I mentioned my file name for a couple of reasons. One, if I named it just annotated bibliography, and then I turned that in, my file might be the same file as up to 45 other people, which means it can really easily get lost when my instructor downloads the paper. So I put my name on there, and say if my last name is Smith, which I know we do have a Smith in the class, or my name is the last name as another student in our class, and we do actually have some students with different last names in that they're not Smith, they're not a common name, but they do share the same last name as other students in our class. So if you're worried about that, what you might want to do is also add a first initial on there, like D. Maskly. And I didn't put spaces in there. I just used periods to mark the separation between words. And I did this because sometimes spaces don't read correctly. Sometimes in Blackboard, or sometimes just when you open them in differing formats and different versions of different word processing programs, I should say. So to be safe, just use periods or dashes or something like that. But use very simple things. Do not use things like pound signs. Certainly never, ever use slashes, because that'll mean something completely different to the computer if it reads a slash. So honestly, periods are just a very simple way to do it. It's also very, very smart to get in the habit of naming your files something meaningful to you as well as the instructor who will be receiving the file. You know, as I mentioned, some instructors will be giving assignments where they will be reading the same assignment from many, many students. You know, I'll have, 44, 45 students this semester. Some semesters I'll have 125 students turning in the same assignment. So you need to be aware of that and not just turn in a file with the assignment name without your name in there anywhere. Do not assume the instructor is going to remember who you are and what your paper was. They might, but don't count on that. That's why it's always really smart to have your name in that file name so they can quickly locate your file. You know, for example, I often will save a lot of papers to a folder, whether it's on a memory stick or on my desktop or something like that. So it's very, very important that I be able to find your paper when I'm looking for it. And the best way to do that is to have a good file name. So then, after I named my file so that I can frequently save and not lose my work, I created the traditional MLA heading that they're looking for. My name, my professor's name, the class, and the date. I then typed the title. Now, if I was writing a paper, I would probably have a title for my paper. If I was creating just a Works Cited page, then I would put Works Cited there. But we know I'm going to be creating an annotated bibliography, so I named it, and then I centered that text. Also note, I put the page number up here, and I'm going to show you where that is. If you look under View, I don't know why it's not under Insert, but that's just the way Word has it. And under Header Footer, you see it creates a nice little rectangle there. So I just typed in my last name and then spaced, and then to get the number, I clicked on this little doodad here, which says Insert Page Number. Now, this means I no longer have to worry about my numbers. That Word will take care of it for me. No matter how many pages of annotated bibliography I have, it will have the right page number on each page. And so that's how I set up that page.